should be lining up and doubling his fortune.
Second overall pick, Zach Wilson, minus 5,000. Third overall pick, this is where it got interesting. Mac Jones, minus 180. Trey Lance, plus 125. Justin Fields, plus 600. Zach Wilson, plus 3,300, because most people think Zach Wilson will go on by the fall.
Where's Kyle Pitts?
Not even in, he's not listed there.
I'm looking pretty good with my hair bet, John, based on those odds.
What is your top three?
No, that the Niners have to take a QB.
Yeah.
That the Niners did not move up to not take a QB.
I think you're right. First wide receiver selected, and it looks like they don't have Kyle Pitts selected as the wide receiver. Jamar Chase, minus 750.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good.
Yes. First running back. Najee Harris, minus 200. Travis Etienne, plus 160. First defensive player, Patrick Surtain is the favorite. Let's see what else is interesting. Mr. Irrelevant position. Offensive or defense, it's minus 120 for both of them.
So it's just the side of the ball.
Yeah, you're just flipping a coin, basically.
Yeah.
And I guess you can take if a kicker's
It's a push.
It's actually a push. All right, we'll talk all about the draft, the Lions, and other things NFL-wise with Michael Lombardi coming up next. 97.1 The Ticket.
WXYT FM and WXYT HD1 Detroit. An Odyssey station. Sports headlines all day, every day. From the Sold by 5C Sports Desk. This is 97.1 The Ticket.
Clemson's Trevor Lawrence is expected to be taken at number 1 when the NFL draft begins tonight in
Take the
Cleveland.
second exit
Lions
onto
barring
Orchard
a
Lake
trade
Road.
for the number 7 overall pick this evening. Among the players that could be available is Penn State linebacker Michael Parsons, considered by many the best defensive prospect in this year's draft.
I just feel like I'm the most versatile player in this class. So I can play middle linebacker, I can play outside, and I can pass rush. I don't think there's no place I can't play in a linebacker spot or whether it's down on the field. I can utilize my skills, and I'm going to just make plays happen.
Meanwhile, according to Sports Illustrated's Albert Breer, the New England Patriots and Carolina Panthers reportedly discussing a deal that would see the Patriots move up to number 8, reportedly take either Mac Jones or Justin Fields. That deal, of course, will likely hinge on what the Atlanta Falcons will do at number 4. Rain would wash away last night's game in Chicago between the Tigers and the White Sox. That contest will be made up as part of a doubleheader today, which you can hear right here on The Ticket beginning at 4:50. Meanwhile, the Philadelphia Phillies' Bryce Harper went on Instagram to say he's all good after taking a 97-mile-per-hour fastball to the face last night's game against the St. Louis Cardinals. The final stretch of the regular season begins tonight for the Pistons as they clash with the Dallas Mavericks at Little Caesars Arena. That game will tip off at 7. The Red Wings will look to end a 2-game road trip. Victory tonight in Carolina against the playoff-bound Hurricanes. Hear that game over on WOMC beginning at 6:45. From the Ticket Update Desk, I'm Tony Ortiz. For more, stay tuned to 97.1 The Ticket at Odyssey.com.
Live from the Jamie Samuelson Studios, Tony and Jansen on 97.1 The Ticket.
Thank you, T.O. He is the host of the Lombardi line on VSiN. He is former general manager, 3-time Super Bowl winning NFL executive. Of course, VSiN is the sports betting network, the first 24/7 broadcast network dedicated exclusively to sports betting. And all his NFL draft coverage on VSiN's DraftCast beginning at 8 o'clock tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, he also knows how good Manco and Manco's Pizza is in Ocean City, New Jersey, because that's where we grew up. Ladies and gentlemen, Michael Lombardi. How you doing, Mike?
Oh, man, somebody's Manco. I was just by it last night. There was already a line out waiting.
Starting route to 14103 Warwick Street.
I grew up in suburban Philly, so it's
In 5.3 miles, turn left onto Northwestern Highway.
Before we talk about the draft, I have two things for you. Then we're going to do the draft. Number one, you were pretty close, obviously, with Belichick and the Patriot way, so to speak. In your, mind, why didn't the Patriot way work?
What do you mean, why didn't it work?
Well, why didn't it work for the Lions?
Stay in the left lane.
Did they not get along? That whole team.
pizza in Detroit, you know, we might have the recipes, but we can't cook it as good as they do. I think a lot of that, I think you steal, you know, guys go through that program, they really don't understand the essence of the program. And they try to become tough guys and they try to intimidate when they're really, that's not what it's
In
about.
4.8 miles, turn left onto Northwestern Highway.
Sense of leadership. And I think that's one of the biggest mistakes. I think a lot of them, and I've said this to Matt to his face, I think a lot of them don't understand what happened in Cleveland. They just think everything's happened in New England, and they don't understand the essence of how we built the program.
When you look at the way it is now with Brad Holmes as GM, and you've held just about every position you can in the front office, from scout all the way to general manager and vice president, we're hanging our hat here in Detroit on the track record that the Rams had with Brad Holmes as the director of college scouting. How much say, and I know their flow chart's going to be different in terms of how they take information from individuals, but how much say do you believe Brad Holmes had in influence in the picks that the Rams made?
Well, I think he probably had, you know, a substantial amount of influence in setting the board. I think the challenge that Brad Holmes is going to have is truly understanding pro football. You know, when you live in Atlanta and your team's in Los Angeles, you really don't have a connection to the team. You don't see the day-to-day operation. You don't see the plight of the coaches. You don't understand what they go through. You don't see what the players are doing on a daily basis, the development level of each player. It's very challenging. And I think part of being a general manager of the National Football League is to understand all those dynamics, because it's just not about picking players. It's about developing talent. It's about curating talent. It's about how are we going to make the team better. It's not being at Texas A&M in the middle of October when your team's struggling to beat the Bears at that same week. You got to do something to help your team. So it's a completely different job. The NFL likes hiring college guys to be general managers because it kind of makes the draft one-dimensional, and they can control pretty much other things. So I think it's a challenge for Brad. I'm sure he had a lot to say in organizing the draft, but when push comes to shove, the people that understand what they need on their team. I wrote a column today for the Daily Coach, which is what I write every day. It's called Bill Walsh, The Art of Elimination. What people don't understand about the draft is never about finding players. It's about eliminating players. And if you can't eliminate talent from the board, what you don't want, what doesn't fit for you, you'll never be able to have great drafts or build great teams. The key isn't to have an A from Mel Kiper. The key is to have a great team.
We're joined by Michael Lombardi here on the Stoney and Jansen program. Going back to the '99 draft, by the way, Michael, when you were the general manager of Oakland, well, I mean, he was a good player, but you took Stinchcomb over this Jansen guy we're talking to.
You know, one thing when you say, you know, one thing about that draft, you know, we took Stinchcomb, bad shoulder and all, and he didn't work out. But we signed a kid. I signed a kid named Barry Sims, who was from Utah. We signed him after the draft, and I can remember we gave him a $10,000 advance, and Al Davis said, "You better be right with this." Like $10,000 is a lot of money. He ended up starting in our Super Bowl team at left tackle. He ended up beating Stinchcomb out. So you're right, we made a big mistake. We should have drafted Jansen.
Jansen's just still butthurt that the Lions took Aaron Gibson over.
Yeah. Well,
I don't blame him. Those things don't go away. You know, I'm still mad about a lot of things. I got passed over for a couple of jobs. I understand that.
Yeah, it always stings, and like you said, it never goes away. But in those teams that you were a part of that won Super Bowls, and teams that you've been a part of that obviously haven't, what's been the difference in those teams in how they were built and how they addressed the draft?
Oh, great question. You know, so first of all, any great team I've been on liked each other. There was camaraderie in the locker room. There was a sense of purpose in the locker room. That doesn't mean they all went bowling on Tuesday night together, but there was a true sense of a lot of good guys in the locker room. There was no dissension from within, and that was critical. And that was the culture that was established. And all the good teams I've been with that won titles, the 3 Super Bowl rings that I wear, and even the one that we lost in Oakland, those teams had great culture. Those teams had great buy-in. They were all for the team. The name on the front meant more than the name on the back. And then how you built the team, to me, that's pretty easy. All those great teams were good in the offensive and defensive lines. That's the key to the game. You know, you can talk about all these receivers you want to talk about. If you can't block and you can't rush the passer and you can't control the game in the defensive front or the offensive front, you're never going to win a title.
So then I want to follow up with that first part that you said about guys buying in the locker room and the name on the back being more important. And with what we have here with Dan Campbell and the way that he's building, a lot of people want to ask the question, well, he's not the offensive coordinator, he's not the defensive coordinator, what does he do? I got to believe in what we saw in press conferences that the building that camaraderie, building that, hey, I want to go play for this guy, I want to be a part of that locker room. Is that one of the biggest factors in taking an organization that has really struggled and taking it to a team that can, compete at a playoff level?
I think the job of the head coach is to be the chief figure-out officer, right? He doesn't have to call plays. He doesn't have to call defenses. He's got to figure out the problems, and he's got to hold the coaches accountable. Challenging thing to do, and he's got to be able to walk into a coaches meeting and say, look, here's what we're doing, fellas, and have enough confidence in his convictions about all three sides of the football, offense, defense, and the kicking game. And he's got to figure out the problems, and he's got to anticipate the problems before they happen.
In 1 mile,
if he's just
turn left onto Northwestern Highway.
He's just there for the pregame message, and he's just there for the Tuesday press conference. That wears thin. Remember this, you played, you understand it. The number one thing players respect, doesn't matter, race, creed, or color, doesn't matter how old you are, 15 years old, 85, they only respect knowledge. If you can make them better, they'll listen. If you can't make them better, they're not going to listen. They don't care. They're going to blow you off. If you can't improve their talent, they're not. And you've got to stand in front of that team and show the team you know every aspect of what's going to happen on the game. You've got to stand in front of that team on Wednesday morning when they come in and say, fellas, here's the 5 things we got to do on offense to win. Here's the 5 things we got to do on defense to win. Here's the 5 things we got to do in the kicking game to win this week. And then you got to coach it, and you got to know it. And then you got to coach the coaches, and you got to be the chief figure-out officer of the organization. Here's the problems. Here's what we got to fix. You can't
Go
rely on
past
the
this
running back
light,
coach to tell
then
you
use the
what you
left
need to
3
know.
lanes to turn
That's
onto
a broken
Northwestern
chain.
Highway.
That'll never work.
Tonight, if the Lions stay at 7, considering what you said about up front, I would assume if some of the 2 wide receivers are there for Alabama, and Sewell and Slater are there, even though the Lions have Ragnow and Decker, you would go offensive line, I'm assuming. Is that correct?
I would never pass Sewell up. I mean, where are you going to find a 19-year-old kid who's a dancing bear, who never gets his uniform dirty, right? Who can play left tackle, and as Belichick would often say to me, just go put him up on the Pro Bowl board. Just put him over there, because that's where he's going. How do you pass that up? I don't care who you have in your line. I don't care. You can't find tackles. You can't find great Pro Bowl tackles. You never apologize. It's like what I tell my stockbroker. Don't apologize for making me money. Don't apologize for getting me a good tackle. Don't ever apologize for that. Because one thing I do know, we'll find receivers. There's 1,000 of them out there. There's 1,000 of them out there. They may not be as good as Jamar Chase. They may not be good as Wallace. But we'll find somebody that we can win with. Walsh used to say this all the time. The last position you fix on your football team, the last position you fix, and he was an offensive coach and he's down in the West Coast offense, is wide receiver.
Is there any defensive player worth taking in the top 7?
I think that's a hard one. I think that's the challenge. I think that's the real challenge of the draft. There's not. I mean, if Parsons, is he instinctive enough for what you want?
Stay in the left 2 lanes.
He's certainly big and fast and can run. I think missing football last year really hurt Parsons. Parsons, to me, could be a guy that could be a top 10 pick if he played the season year. I think he really hurt himself. The corner situation between Warren and Surtain is a lot of difference between those 2 players. Surtain's very ready to play right now. Horn is an athletic guy, more athletic than Surtain, but grabs too much, gets too many penalties. But look, you just picked Oka for the 2nd pick of the draft. I was screaming last year. See, if you talk, the first question you asked me is what went wrong with the Patriots. That's the answer. To me, if you were truly a Patriot, you're picking the defensive lineman, not the corner.
It's interesting you say that. And,
the Lions taking Okuda, you mean?
Yeah.
Stay in the left 2
Sixers
lanes.
on your bad Okafors.
Yeah. Hey, and I want to ask you about something.
Sorry, yeah, I did have the Sixers on my mind. I'm sorry, I apologize.
That's okay.
You mentioned sitting out for Micah Parsons, that it really hurt him. And a lot of the guys that we're talking about in the top 10, whether it's Jamar Chase, Penei Sewell, Rashawn Slater, Micah Parsons, they all sat out. How much of a factor is that, and is it a more of a factor by position?
It's more of a factor by position, and I think really what hurt it more is the fact that there's so few defensive players. I think that's the real concern, is there's so few defensive players. This draft doesn't have a lot of quality. There's no defensive tackles in this draft that you draft and say, wow, this guy's going to be a great player. He could be a good player, but you don't go sit there and say, wow, this guy's great.
Final thing for you, we obviously had a major quarterback change in Detroit. How much of a drop-off is there from Matthew Stafford to Jared Goff? And because of Goff, he's got 2 years left, would you be opposed to the Lions taking a Lance or a Fields or even a Jones at 7?
Well, I don't think Jones is going to make it. I think Jones is going 3. The reality of this is I would take the quarterback. I would take the quarterback that I felt I would. Because, look, here's the reality of Jared Goff. He's really good in play-action passes. When the game speeds up on third down and the protection doesn't hold up, that's when he falls apart. There's a reason the Rams got rid of him. And the reason the Rams got rid of him is because they couldn't run a drop-back pass game. He wouldn't hold the ball long enough to make the tough throws. And that's a problem. And that's a real problem. And the other factor for me, if I were the GM of the Detroit Lions, is have you ever watched Jared Goff play in cold weather? Have you looked at his numbers when he plays in less than 40 degrees? It's not good. It's not good. We might have to go to Chicago. We might have to go to Green Bay. We might have to go to New York. We might have to go to some cold weather place to play. And I'm more going to be driving to the stadium worried like crazy about a guy that doesn't like to play in cold weather. Remember the last time he played in Chicago when he was with the Rams? And that was when they were having a great season. So for me, I think it's quarterback. I think you should always take a quarterback because here's the reality. You can get away from Goff's contract next year with no cost to you whatsoever. You can build your team. You hire the head coaches on a 6-year contract. You can build the team, and then you can have a rookie contract to build the team around with a lot of cap flexibility. That would be a smart move to make, assuming you liked one of the 2 quarterbacks, whether it's Fields or Lance. Hey, look, Chris Spielman's going to have a huge impact on this draft. Huge. They didn't bring him in there to be a cheerleader. And he's not in there to not give his opinion, right? So he's going to have a huge say. He lives in Columbus. He knows Fields as well as anybody. We'll see what it all means.
Who do you like better, Fields or Lance?
I like Lance better. I think Fields' mechanics is really, people don't understand the mechanics of the quarterback. He's an overstrider when he throws the ball. Hard to do when the pocket's tight. You can't really overstride. And his throws.
Stay in the left 3
You're going to have to
lanes.
spend some time fixing his mechanics before you get him to become a really good player.
Michael, we appreciate your time. Always enjoy your work, and you got the VSiN stuff going on right now, the Sports Betting Network, NFL Draft. You can listen beginning on Thursday. It's great stuff. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
All right, that's Michael Lombardi, former general manager, 3-time Super Bowl winning NFL executive. He passed on John Jans. But at least he got a good player in Matt Stinch. It's not like he got...
Hey, you heard him. He's a mistake.
That's what I'm saying. We got the 2 Grand Slam coming up next here on 97.1 The Ticket. Spring is showtime at BetMGM. Baseball is back, and as the weather warms up, the hockey and basketball action gets even hotter. And finally, draft day has arrived. It's the perfect time to take a shot at an easy 100 from the king of sportsbooks. Sign up today
Bounty picks up spills and messes quicker. And each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less than the leading value brand. So you can get back to the party. Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
Over the past year, I've helped thousands turn their lives around. And today, I'm going to tell you the one simple trick that will change everything. All you have to do is...
And now a message from our sponsor.
With Progressive, you can bundle your boat, RV, or other outdoor vehicle for great protection and even more savings. Progressive.
And that's it. You'll have that for the rest of your lives. I'm so excited for you.
Progressive. There's never a bad time for great protection. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Bundle discount not available in all states or situations.
Are you a real estate agent, or have you ever thought about becoming a realtor? Hi, it's Mark Z with eXp. We are now hiring. Most realtors struggle because they don't have enough leads, or they work day and night with no retirement plan. I have a solution that includes company stock, residual income, and a great compensation plan. Come learn from the best. Me, Mark Z, at joinmarkz.com.
The thing about the Home and Auto Bundle from Progressive is that by now you've heard a lot of ads about the Home and Auto Bundle from Progressive. We don't even need the words the Home and Auto Bundle anymore to tell you that you could save big with the ring-tailed lemur from Progressive, or that every hot peach cobbler comes with round-the-clock service and protection. And that's the thing about the goat with magic powers. You've heard a lot of ads about the sushi in Vancouver. See how much you could save with the Home and Auto Bundle with the Shaman in the Jungle from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Bundle discount not available in all states or situations.
Microban 24 protects against Staphylococcus aureus and Enterobacter aerogenes bacteria, but does not provide 24-hour protection against viruses. Every time you touch a surface, you leave behind bacteria. To keep surfaces sanitized all day, use Microban 24 sanitizing spray. Spray on hard surfaces to kill 99.9% of viruses and bacteria initially, including the virus that causes COVID-19. Once dry, Microban 24 sanitizing spray is effective for 24 hours on bacteria when used as directed.
I'm Dr. Andrea Russo, a cardiologist. Maybe you're waiting to talk to your doctor right now, but if you're having an irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness, don't wait. This could be a serious condition like atrial fibrillation, which can make you about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. If you're having these symptoms, don't wait. Talk to a doctor by phone, online, or in person.
Brought to you by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer. The next time you're in Vegas, head to the D Las Vegas. It's not on the Strip, it's in downtown Vegas. The odds are better, the party's bigger, and you'll feel right at home. Book your stay today at thed.com. The D Las Vegas, your home for Detroit sports in Vegas.
There are no sweeter sounds. Hear the game. All the play-by-play all season is on 97.1 The Ticket and the Odyssey app. Live from the Jamie Samuelson studio, here's Stoney and Jansen.
We got the two Grand Slam coming up shortly. We thank Michael Lombardi for joining us. All of mock draft number 3.0, final mock draft that's coming up at 7:50. Our telephone number is 248-539-9797. Real quick, guys, who's going to have the best career for us?
I'm sticking with the guy that I've talked about all along, and that's Kyle Pitts. I think the matchups that he creates, mismatches, offenses that he can be a part of and just dominate, I think he has the highest likelihood of being the dominant player in this draft.
I'm going to go Mr. Obvious, number 1 overall pick. You know, if you, I said Mr. Obvious, if you believe in these grades that the only people that have got similar, resumes, grades, whatever, coming out of college and draft are guys like Luck, Elway, and Peyton Manning. No, he did not have a similar grade.
So I'm stuck.
Oh, okay.
Let's talk about Mel Kiper's 10. So,
but
very well could.
It is obvious, but
I'm with you, Stoney.
I just think
to take exit 11 towards Schoolcraft Avenue and Plymouth Road.
whether he'll have enough exactly groceries to actually be good, especially the problem is we're so quick to evaluate after like one year. They're not going to be very good this year, assume, so we'll even get more draft picks next year. All right, let's win some money.
It's the Stoney and Jen
Slam to sound like there, but hopefully the new music will help people win some money. And I gotta say, it's pretty gettable, I think.
You think so? There's 3 in here I think are kind of tough. I just think for... I'll give my reasons why.
Right. There's one that I got wrong. You can probably figure out which one that is, but I think they're pretty obvious. If you
pay attention.
If you pay attention, if you're in the wheelhouse of the subject matter, you should be okay. But you can't be just pigeonholed into one subject.
Right.
There are other things besides sports.
There is? There's other things in life than sports?
There are. Yes. Believe it or not. As my mother used to tell me when I used to get so upset if the Flyers would lose, what did the Flyers ever do for you? They don't care about you. Why do you care about them?
Because you feel like they do.
Well, no, I really don't. Never felt that they did care about me. But
about the fans.
I cared about them.
Yeah.
And we all care about our teams. We know they don't really care that much about us, especially eventually. All right, ladies and gentlemen, enough of our BS. Let's go to Mike and Nova. How you doing, Michael?
Morning, Tony.
Have you played the 2 Grand Slam before?
Yeah, a couple years ago.
Yeah, how'd you do?
Did okay. I think I got 6.
You got 6. Okay. Well, I think this is gettable. So I'm going to set the bar at 7.
Ooh, improvement.
I'm going to give him a little improvement. As you know, the way this works, you will get 10 questions within 60 seconds. You get them all right.
At the stop sign,
you win $2,000.
$25
correct. You get for each correct answer. We will not tell you whether you're right or wrong. If you don't know, you are, you should pass and go back to it. Use that clock wisely. All right.
Got it.
All right.
Right.
Good luck to you. The clock will start with the beginning of my first question. Are you ready, Mike?
Let's do it.
All right. Where did NFL draft prospect Zach Wilson play in college?
Pass.
Who did the Washington football team select with the 2nd overall pick last draft?
Arrived.
Pass.